Hi everybody, this is Boog Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the brand new NECA Ultimate TMNT Cartoon 2012 Michelangelo figure. I've got a lot of comments about this one, so I'm excited to finally be reviewing him. So before we take a look at Mikey, let's go ahead and take a look at all of the accessories that he comes with. So first up, he comes with a set of open hands. Up next, he comes with the smoke bomb that all of the turtles come with. And I don't know why I haven't been putting them in the open hands. It's very loose and kind of just rests in there, but it definitely looks better in these open hands than on the accessory holding hands. Up next, he comes with a set of pointing hands. I forgot to mention that these hands, they're a little bit tricky to get out of the peg holes, so I did have to shave them down. I wish he would have been like Donatello and had hands that I didn't have to do that to. As I said, I'd rather shave them down and be safe than sorry, because I could see these joints breaking off if you put too much pressure on them. Up next, he comes with these, I believe they're called Shaka hand sign hands. I actually looked up what the name of these hands were, because I usually just say gesturing hands, but I'm pretty sure these are called the Shaka sign. Up next, he comes with his accessory holding hands. Up next, he comes with his slice of pizza. It's been the same on all of the turtles I've reviewed so far. Up next, he comes with his turtle calm. Just like with the smoke bomb and the pizza accessories, they're all the same with all of the turtles. Up next, he comes with this Kasarigama, and this looks really nice. The chain is just plastic, but it looks really cool. I'm definitely going to have to put some wire up through it, that way I can make it posable. I think that will look really cool. One weird thing when I was putting this in his hand is the bottom actually comes out. I guess maybe to get it in his hand easier, I actually just kind of wedged it in his hand like that. I guess there was an easier way to do it, but I didn't do it that way. Up next, he comes with his signature nunchucks, and these also look really good. They're done in the same color scheme as the Kasarigama, and they have the black plastic chain there. Just like with the chain on that, I'm definitely going to add some wire to this, that way these can be posed around. It looks really cool when you run some wire up to these. He also has storage on his sides for these, but only one will go in. So I'm going to demonstrate that now. So these are actually pretty soft, so you can actually slide this one in pretty easily. If I can line it up here. So see, that one actually goes in just fine. But when you try to put this second one in, it just won't fit. You can see that there's not enough room for it. I mean, I could probably squeeze it in there, but what I'm honestly afraid of is it'll be such a tight fit that it'll chip some of that yellow paint away. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. You can tell that there's not enough room for the second nunchuck here in this holster. Up next, he comes with his alternate angry head. And even though I'll be displaying him with the happy head sculpt, I really like the way this looks too. That's a pretty intense head sculpt for Michelangelo. And finally, he comes with probably my favorite accessory from this figure, Ice Cream Kitty. Between Ice Cream Kitty and Dr. Cluckingsworth, these are my two favorite accessories from all of these turtles. This is just a very fun accessory. I love the paint detail on it, like the swirls in the ice cream as well as the tail dripping right there. That looks very awesome, and I'm glad that NECA included this as an accessory. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at Michelangelo's head sculpt. So taking a look at this head sculpt, I think it looks fantastic. Just like with Donatello, I think there's a lot of personality on this head sculpt. He has that really wide smile on his face there. You get a little glimmer of light in each of his eyes. I think that really fits with his personality in the show. That's why I like this head sculpt the best. I just really like how happy he looks. That is a really good head sculpt for him. He is also the most vibrant of all the turtles. His colors are very, very bright in person. I feel like he also has the most paint variation over top of his skin too, with those little specks. The other turtles didn't have as much as him, but that gives some really nice variation to his skin. I think that looks really good. Though mine has this really dark green mark right here on his inner thigh on the right side. I'm assuming that's just a paint mishap. But other than that, I love the paint detail of the little specks on his skin there. Just like with all of the other turtles, the shoulders on both sides have these weird marks. I think it was in my Donatello review, I think it's where these shoulders were cut from the mold. But it's really, really noticeable on this left side. You can see there's a, let me get it to focus in here. There's this really bad place right here. And it's actually kind of sharp. So yeah, I wish that would have been just a little less noticeable than it is. He also has a semi-detailed shell. As I said, with all of the turtles, all of these scratches are just painted on, but that still looks really nice. You get another incredibly detailed belt right here. The textures and everything just look great on this, and the black wash really brings the detailing out. Now, because of the holsters for his nunchucks, his arms can't go down all the way. They're always going to be out like that. So that does bother me a little bit. Would have been cool if these would have been removable, like they could clip on his belt and you could take them off if you wanted his arms flush to his sides, because they're always going to be stuck out to his sides like that. The back of his shell is also detailed really nicely. I love all of the sculpted textures on the pattern of his shell. That looks really nice. You get some nice black paint in between there, and then they printed that light green on there. The shells on these figures are really detailed, and I think I forgot to show them off on the previous turtles, but the sides of the shells are also detailed too. It's really hard to see, but he has a dry brushing of like a really brownish color over top of the sides of his shell right here. I don't know, I think it's a little more noticeable here. You can actually see the dry brushing going up his shell. So I'm surprised that it's that detailed right there. They honestly didn't have to detail that since his arms are mostly going to hide that, but they did, so I'm pretty happy about that. You get the continued textures and wash on the elbow and knee pads. He just has plain brown wrappings on his wrists. It has a nice dark brown wash to it though, and it brings the sculpted details out really nicely. Now on his knee pads on the right side, you can see all of the scratches that are sculpted and painted on, and that looks really good. But over here you can see that the paint missed its mark. It's supposed to be down in the sculpted lines. Now, this one missed its mark by a little bit. It's not bad though, but these just entirely missed it. This long mark right here is actually supposed to be up here. This one is down, and so is this one. So the paint apps didn't quite make their mark on the knee pads. That's a really small gripe, but I feel like it's pretty noticeable. You know, these are actually painted down in the sculpt marks, and you can see the sculpt marks and then the paint down here. And just like the other turtles, he has some really nice sculpt detail to the wrappings on his feet here, and a nice wash over the light brown parts. That looks really good. And of course, even the bottoms are sculpted. So yeah, this figure is sculpted really nicely. He is probably my second favorite turtle figure, with the first being Donatello. Donatello is still my favorite from this wave, but Michelangelo is a close second. Just like with Donatello, I don't have as many QC issues as I had with Leonardo, so that's really good. I feel like his joints feel a little more durable, but there is one big flaw, and I'll get to that now that I'm going over the articulation. So he has a ball-jointed head that can look up all the way. He can look down all the way. He can move his head side to side and around really nicely. The mask tie also moves all the way around back here. He has shoulders that can move out that far. Wish they could move out just a little more, but the joint doesn't feel brittle right here like on Leonardo. You know, I can move it up and down and it doesn't feel like it's going to break. He has a swivel at the bicep. Now his elbows, these joints feel really loose and fragile. Like it feels like if I move it too much, they could snap. That's the biggest flaw with Michelangelo, is these elbow joints. They kind of move freely, you know, they don't have any resistance to them. Like I said, I feel like if I move these around too much, they could break. So that's unfortunate. But he has double jointed elbows that can bend in that far, wrists that move up and down, and spin all the way around. He has a ball jointed diaphragm that can move back a decent amount, forward a decent amount, side to side, and around really nicely. He has ball jointed hips that can only move out that far. His shell isn't soft enough to actually get him kicking forward all the way like on Donatello. I'm not sure why Donatello is the only figure that can actually kick forward properly. He can kick back all the way. He has a really nice thigh swivel. Double jointed knees that can move back all the way. Ankles that can move down all the way, up very slightly, and a decent ankle rocker. I didn't have to shave these down on Michelangelo, so that's a plus. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up here he is next to Donatello and Leonardo, And I think all of these look really cool together. Not only is Michelangelo the shortest, but he's also the most vibrant. Now, tomorrow, Tuesday, will be the review on the last Turtle Raphael, and then Wednesday will be on Shredder. I've had a lot of fun reviewing this wave. This is, despite some of the issues I've had with the figures, I've had a lot of fun reviewing these every day. Here he is next to the original cartoon version of himself. Here he is next to the Mirage Comics version of himself. I actually should have showed this as a size comparison before the animated one. I don't know why I did that in a different order in this video. And finally, here he is next to the live-action 1990 version of himself. So overall, I would highly recommend picking Michelangelo up because he is another fun figure in this wave. As I said earlier, he is my second favorite turtle out of all these that I've reviewed. Donatello is still my first, but Michelangelo is a close second. I think he's sculpted really nicely. As I said, I absolutely love the head sculpt for him. We get some really awesome accessories. Ice Cream Kitty is definitely my favorite accessory out of these turtles, and I think the articulation is pretty decent. You know, it's not quite as good as Donatello, but it's still pretty good. The only real complaints that I had with this figure is the elbow joints feel really, really fragile, and he can't kick forward all the way. I mean, he can kick forward at least. It's not like he can't kick forward at all. But aside from those two complaints that I had with this figure, I do think he's really nice. He's definitely one of the best figures in this wave. So far, Donatello is my favorite, Michelangelo is my second favorite, and Leonardo is my least favorite. Honestly, I still think Leonardo, after I review all these figures, is probably going to be my least favorite figure out of this whole wave. So, that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.